explain, obviously, the type of situation and services that they provide. And Ashley, who was in signing everybody in and so on, is his partner on eFreedom. So,
thank you.
Thank you. Play the cat.
Sure. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. It's such a small group. It's kind of fun. It's like I'm home talking to some friends. So my name is Cherif Medawar, and I'm from Santa Clara, Silicon Valley in California. And I have a company called efreedom.com. You can go check it out. eFreedom is entrepreneurial freedom. And what I do is I fund companies that want to either go public or maybe launch their products, but we really focus mainly on companies that have an order. Let's say you have an idea and you have an order placed with Costco, but you now don't have the money to go and fund and get this manufactured. So what I do is I just give you that bridge loan. So we do many types of financing. And I'm a hedge fund manager, so the way I do it is, let's say I meet an investor and the investor says, well, I'd like to make big money helping companies grow or go to the next level. So I tell them, okay, they park their money into my fund, which 80% of the fund handles commercial real estate. It's very safe with corporate guarantees, etc. And they get 8% per year as we look for opportunities. When there is an opportunity, I call that investor and I say, Susie, John, we have this opportunity with an order, let's say from Costco. This guy has a barbecue sauce. Costco just placed an order for $2 million. They don't have the $2 million. Would you like to use your funds? That's when the big home run is. We take those funds based on an invoice from a company like Costco, so the risk is practically none. I don't know if you realize how these big companies work. We go get them the money so they can manufacture the orders, deliver it to Costco. Then we get, let's say, $4 million on the $2 million. We make the $2 million back, put it for you into the fund. We keep $1 million, you get $1 million. So everybody's happy because you make a lot of money on your money, a lot safer. And while you're waiting, you're getting 8% secured by real estate. It's a phenomenal way to really help companies grow. And I realized that when I saw the ABC Shark Tank, and I have a training company, an education company. So what they did is they came and approached me. First, Damon John, the black gentleman from Shark Tank that has the earrings, that did the FUBU product, and said, well, can you help me do a seminar? Kind of team up with you. And we did it. That was all last year, first quarter. And then I realized that he's not diversified enough, so we got Kevin Harrington to join us. Kevin Harrington is the one that created the infomercial business, as you know. And so he came over and we started having people come and pitch their ideas. And we say, well, do you have any orders ready? And then if they say, no, I don't have orders yet, we either help them to get the order, then we fund them, or we tell them, well, let's team this person with that person, you guys go do it, etc. It's been very successful. So that's that. Also, I want to talk about the fact that we give advice on how to reduce taxes, for instance. Let's say you're going to fund something for $2 million, you're going to end up making $1 million in a very short period of time. The taxes on that would be just huge, because it's like ordinary gain. You're going to pay federal and state taxes. You're set up in Florida, there are no state taxes. Still, however, the taxes, corporate taxes, could be around 30%. So I have, for years, since 2002, I have researched the tax code, hired the best attorneys, and we cracked the tax code whereby instead of going offshore like many crazy people go offshore, I would never recommend offshore for anybody. What we do is we use Congress incentives with U.S. territories such as Puerto Rico, and what we do is we set up the entire entity when you do the funding and all that through Puerto Rico entity, which is under the U.S. laws. FDIC, FBI, everything. You'll have a corporation set up there. The funding goes from there. And due to a law, an incentive law created by Congress called Law 20, you will get, instead of paying 30 or 40% in taxes, you'll pay only 4% on your gains. That law comes with a decree from Congress for 20 years on any endeavor, business you do in the United States or anywhere in the world as a U.S. citizen or U.S. resident, you'll only pay 4%. Is that exciting? If you're excited, you're controlling your excitement very well. All right. There is another law in Puerto Rico that I discovered as a real estate investor, because that's my background, is with historic buildings there, which only in Viejo San Juan, which is Old San Juan, this small area right where the cruise ship arrived. I found out there was a law in 1955, like we have here in Palm Beach, when you restore or maintain the landmark and the historic integrity of a building, over there, unlike any other state or any other location in the U.S., over there they give you certain tax incentives that are very unique. So I identified with the Washington, D.C. Preservation Department what buildings will have these tax incentives. I bought all these buildings. My portfolio is $50 million. That's my personal portfolio, right where the cruise ships arrive. And what I do is I set up, if anybody's interested, I set up the corporation for you there in one of these buildings, which gives you an additional profit. The first $150,000 you will make is completely tax-free. Yes, completely tax-free. Per entity, per year. So when you combine Law 7 for the historic integrity of the buildings that I own with Law 20, you have an unbelievable opportunity to make money, pay the least amount of taxes, and compound your return, blessed by the United States government and the Internal Revenue Code. So it's very exciting, and we've been in business 15 years. You can go to efreedom.com. You can go to YouTube. Go to youtube.com and put Cherif Medawar. You can get the spelling of my name in the back there. Sorry, it's not the easiest name to spell. But and you will see over 1,000 video success stories from attorneys, entrepreneurs, people that are well-known, ex-judges, and things like that. So I'm very proud of that record. Ashley Jones have been with me for 15 years. We've been really growing like crazy. It was a pleasure meeting Tom, to have the opportunity to tell you here about how you can take your business to the next level with less risk, more profit, less taxes. And then the last point I want to make, hopefully I'm not talking too fast. I had too many sugar stuff over here, but it was all sweet stuff. So anyway, one last thing I want to mention is asset protection. I realize now most people are almost obsessed about asset protection. If you're wealthy, you're afraid to lose what you have. If you're on your way to make wealth and build some credibility in the world, you're afraid you make a mistake and people go after whatever assets you have. I realized, being an educator also as a hedge funder, that when I brought in attorneys to talk about asset protections, they always talked about creating separate entities for each one of your assets. You have 10 properties and a couple businesses, create an LLC, limited liability company for each one. Well, you end up paying for 10 or 12 LLCs. You end up having equity in each one that is actually limited to whatever loss you will have in that entity. You have to maintain all these entities. I thought to myself, that's so overwhelming. I mean, God forbid I die earlier than expected. What will my wife do with all these crazy entities? How would she know what's coming, what's going, how to file what, etc.? So I kept debating that with attorneys until we cracked the code. And last year, actually, I came up with the best asset protection structure, not according to me, but according to the judges that actually gave success stories on my entity structuring. And here's how it works. I'll tell you how it is very simply. Are you interested?
Yes.
Okay, very simple. Here's how it goes. You own, let's say, 10 properties. A couple in Palm Beach, a couple in Tennessee, one in Wisconsin, one in New York, etc. Instead of setting up an individual LLC for each, to kind of separate the assets and liabilities, what you do is you create one LLC in Wyoming. Where? Wyoming. Why Wyoming? Because in 1972 they created the limited liability company setup. So the judges there protected. You have an additional protection as managers. Nobody could know who the manager is unless they have a subpoena from the court. So it's pretty good to set up there. One LLC in Wyoming, and you capitalize it. Because you have to capitalize an entity. You capitalize the entity by owing money to it. By doing what? Owing money to it. So we have attorneys that create a promissory note for, let's say, I don't know, $6 million. Because that's the equity you have on your properties and your businesses. So let's just say your equity in total is $6 million. So you will owe, let's say, about $7 million to capitalize the entity. Because when you create an entity, it says how much you want to capitalize it for. And you can say $7 million. Are you going to put that money in cash? No. How are you going to put that money? A promissory note. Thank you, sir. So we create the promissory note. We create a lien that is recorded and cross-collateralized against all your assets, including, so that's the second lien on this one, and maybe first lien if this one is paid off, is third lien on this one. So there is no more equity showing. Instead, there is debt. You have stripped your equity. And if you have a business, we file a UCC1 filing. So we protect your inventory, your assets, your orders, your receivables. Everything is protected. Hence, if God forbid you have an accident, you're fixing the radio or something and you don't look, you hit somebody, and the family goes after you, what's the first thing that family is going to do? They're going to sue you. They're going to go to an attorney. They're going to say, we want to sue Cherif Medawar. So the attorney, a good attorney, will look first if there is merit to the lawsuit. Yep, Cherif was negligent. He was fixing his radio, wasn't looking at the road, hit your father, and, God forbid, the guy is just paralyzed. So we're going to go after Cherif because he's worth God knows how many millions. Well, let's see if you can go after his millions, because we see assets. Let's see what equities he has. Because I'm not hiding. I'm right here. I'm saying, here are my properties. Okay? Let's see how much equity he has in his properties. Oh my gosh, he owes more than he owns. He doesn't have equity, no equity, no equity, no equity, no equity. The attorney is going to say, look, if you want me to take this case, I'm not going to take it on a percentage. I need a lot of money up front, because I can't even go after who he owes the money to unless I have a court order, so I need this and this and this. So what is the likelihood is going to happen? That litigant, that person who wants to sue me, who made the mistake, is probably going to settle with whatever insurance I have, whatever extra umbrella insurance I have, and that should suffice. If they want to go after me, assuming the worst case scenario, and they go to court, and I go to court, and the judge hates me for whatever reason, and I lose, let's assume the worst, they can't do anything. Because even a charging order will not be able to be enforced against an LLC in Wyoming. You don't believe me? Look at the Wyoming Code. The Wyoming Code itself, 67-17-203, says a single member LLC cannot have any charging order against it. It is a phenomenal setup. And now you set up one LLC, not 10 or 12, one. And you pay for one to maintain it per year. That is the cheapest insurance, the most airtight setup you can have in the United States of America. Now I know you're wondering, well, if such a good setup exists, why didn't the attorneys tell us about it? Well, when you ask the attorneys, they tell me, well, Cherif, I prefer to set up 10 and make money on 10 and make money maintaining the 10 than just one. You see the point? Yet with the 10, when they set it up, you still have equity in each one. All it does is it limits your liability, but you still have a loss of the equity if they go after that house. Somebody slipped and fell and they sue you. You still have a loss here, yet it may be limited to that entity. The one I'm giving you, that is absolute 100% airtight setup, approved by courts. There is economic substance to the debt you have for the actual LLC. It's not a fake loan. There is no loans. There is a capitalization structure. We've looked at it. I have family members that are in California in the court system. My sister-in-law is an attorney who's going to be a judge. She did all the research. I have an attorney from San Diego, California, that became a judge. He's been a judge for 10 years, been a student of mine for many years, and he stood up. He said, of all the cases I've seen, this is the best setup in the United States. Provided you don't come and ask me to set you up. I mean, we can set you up for that. It costs $5,000, and you're set up for life. The thing is, don't come and set it up. Don't call in my office and say, hey, Cherif, talk to your attorney. Let's set it up under your structure if you're already in a lawsuit. You understand? I cannot set it after the fact because it's going to be like hiding assets. We do not hide. We claim everything. Everything is clear. We're following the code. If you're already in a lawsuit, I'm sorry, it's too late. Hopefully your insurance will help you. If not, we'll try to settle. But if you don't have a lawsuit and are afraid or want to protect your assets, this is the best setup. So to recap what I said, we have a fund. We can invest your money at 8% and then have serious home runs with startups and funding companies that can make you huge amounts of money. We have a tax structure that can work for your existing businesses or whatever funding you want to do to grow. We have asset protection to help you, and we have a huge educational programs online. I don't do much of these presentations, but who can refuse coming to Palm Beach, right? So it's been fun, and I'll take some questions. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the minimum into your fund?
$25,000 is the minimum into the fund.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what's your track record?
Oh, wonderful. Since 2009, we've always paid the 8% on time. We pay semi-annually on February 28th, August 31st. You can check anything you like. We mainly focus on properties in San Francisco Bay Area.
Wait, I'm not going in for 8%.
No, I understand.
I want the home run.
But exactly.
So how many home runs have you had for your client?
For the funding, we just started that funding program just recently. We just did an amendment to the actual PPM, which you can verify online. If you go to sec.gov, you will see my private fund. And the amendment done because a lot of people said, I have my money parked with you safely because the money is cross-collateralized against all the real estate. How about these home runs that you know about, Cherif? Can you get me in? And I started thinking, will this help my business or will it take away from my opportunities? I found out it's actually a bigger pot, a bigger pie. So to answer your question, we just started this. That's why I had Kevin Harrington join me. Kevin Harrington joined me officially May 7th, 2013. This is very new. I mean, once we have, frankly, 20 to 25 people in it, I won't need anymore because I'm not looking for $1 billion to fund. We're looking for, the last one we did was like $1.7 million, which the funding comes in for, everybody benefits. So these are very new. And the point is, you can park your money where you are and just email me, Cherif, my money's sitting here at 1%. I'm happy with that. It's peace of mind for me. I respect that. But when you have a home run that you need funding, I'd like to go in with you. You're going in with me. I'm not telling you go there where I'm not. I'm a multimillionaire. My net worth is over 50 million. This is easy, very verifiable. You can go and check. I can show you proof of that. You want to go in with me on things? Great. It leaves me more money to go in with somebody else in other opportunities. If you prefer to say, Cherif, I'll give you the money into your fund so I can keep getting 8%. Then what I will do is when there is an opportunity, I call you in order of who came in first, and I say, what's your name?
Bob.
Bob, I have this opportunity. We're going to fund this one over here. Let's say CVS Pharmacy is placing this order for whatever device they want to buy from John Doe. When I send you some documents, take a look. We got the order ready. Do you want to go in with me? We'll go in 50-50. And when he comes out, we work a deal with that person that created the inventor, the creator. We give them usually a third. But we're talking millions here. Okay, I mean, usually we get 100% on what we put within a 6 months period or less. For example, we have right now another opportunity with Costco, and we're looking at it. We do the due diligence, we do everything. I have attorneys that are specialized in this. So I take the risk out of it and reduce your taxes, because once you're going in with me, I structure you under your own entity here and there and here and this. And I want to talk to your CPA, I encourage you to do that, because once we do a good deal, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be excited about doing the next one. Then I'm looking for business models, not selling products, not some fantasy out there. These are business models that I build and I grow with. Yes, sir.
Isn't your funding basically factoring?
More and less. More and less. Yeah, because I'm doing it in advance. It's not like there is an invoice, not that is money owed and then I'm buying it at a discount. I'm just coming in and giving you the money to get this whole thing sold. I mean, people say, I got the order, I just don't have the money to manufacture it. So I got a prototype of X. I got an order because they like it. I don't have $2 million to pay the Chinese factory or the company, like this company's in Riverside doing these little bottles. They needed 1.7 million to fulfill an order for Costco. Well, it's Costco. So I'm going in. You see, stuff like that. Yes, sir.
You're saying to me that you already got the purchase order in place, is that correct?
Once you have the purchase order, yes, when we have the purchase order and we can verify this is what they want and we can deliver this from the manufacturer and this is all done the right way, done. We then go in and...
What percentage of your own money are you using?
50% is my money.
Okay, so 50-50.
Yeah, I always go for because these are great opportunities. I spend a lot of money on marketing and all that. I mean, we have an office in Orlando and it just costs a lot of money to do this, so I always make sure my money is invested wisely. And it gives me the opportunity to work with more than one investor. I mean, it's practically the same thing for me. I can do 2 deals or I can do 5 with partners. Yes, sir.
If I'm a manufacturer,
Yes.
and I have a coffee cup and I get an order from Costco, why should I go to you if I'm looking for funding versus another factor? What is it that you're offering me as the
Okay. Oh, sorry. It's okay.
that makes it so
If you have another one, then we can position the negotiation based on whatever other order you have. Okay. So it's very fair, and we structure it in a way that we're better. Because it's exactly. Usually what I have is people saying to me, like that order that's pending now, this person said to me, every person I approach, they want to buy 40 to 50% of my company. I don't want to buy 40 to 50% of your company. You created this, you fought for it, you created with your wife, etc., etc. What I'll do is I'll fund you the first one, but I'm going to walk away with a lot of money, and from that point to the future, you own it 100%, and I just helped you. Because this is the way I would want to be treated. Just help me get from here to there. After that, I don't need you. So I said, I'll help you get there. I won't keep yanking your chain forever for 10% ownership or whatever.
So you really are bridge loaning.
Bridge loaning, that's perfect terminology, yes, sir.
So how do you secure $1 million that you give to the manufacturer?
Excellent. Yes. Okay, if the plant blows up, that's insurance stuff. But the question is, how do you secure the money? Okay, so we got in, I put $1 million, Cherif, he put $1 million, so we went in, and they're going to manufacture this thing. How do we secure the money? Every situation is slightly different. Some have such great patents, like there was this company called My Mosaic I did outside the fund with my own money. The patents alone were worth way more than what I gave them. So I had the rights as Class A shares to the patents. Yeah, I mean, if they failed, I have an upside. If they did well, I have an upside. And then I trained the CEO how to pitch. Well, he went and pitched one company about what they were trying to do. They bought the whole company. It was a home run and a lot less. This was luck. I don't work on luck, but it was a luck. Now, Every structure is different. Some people have assets, but they can't borrow against them, and they can get funding, or the funding they're getting is structured in a way they don't like. Well, then we're going to say, we're going to give you the money, but we need extra collateral. We're going to record this lien against this commercial building that you have free and clear. Cross-collateralized, we can do that. We can have insurance, and sometimes based on the orders from the big factories, they say, look, we're going to put a letter of credit, we're going to put a deposit, we're going to put this, so we try to minimize the risk. Here's what I look for, so you know. Number one, safety. The return of the money, like Warren Buffett said, is more important than return on the money. Safety first. I hear you there. Number two, we look for cash flow. Number three, we look for liquidity. What if it gets delayed? What if now all of a sudden it gets delivered, they want to do it on consignment? See, all that stuff is what I resolve. So when I call you, I can present to you, this is what I got right now, Bob. Are you interested in this one? No, I'll pass on this one. Consider me for something shorter term. I'm happy with whatever I'm doing with the money at this time. Okay, thank you for the call. And then I talk to him, I talk to her, and then we see who's interested in that particular one. If nobody is, I would do it. Yeah, these are usually, I'll give you an example. We have one which is a sauce. Just a sauce. It's a barbecue sauce, but it's kosher. It's good for diabetics. It's yes. Oh, it's got like 4 or 5 incredible things. So Costco liked it.
So I'm sorry.
Sure.
What type of individual made that? Was this a
Okay, this guy that made it came up with the idea from his grandmother's sauce. So grandmother's sauce. He's half Indian, half black. Came up with the sauce, and yeah, interesting. It's a small timer. Yes. Some have patents, some don't have patents. But what's more important for us, generally speaking, but for me, is do I have an order? I don't care about the patent. Do I have an order, and will it be fulfilled? And is the order from small timer or from a big timer? If it's small timer, I'm not interested. Look, I'm not going to go risk my money when it's sitting in commercial buildings and I have cash flow, or sitting in properties in San Francisco. You can go to mixif.com, my private fund website, MIGSIF. It's Medawar International Group Secured Income Fund. MIGS, like Sam, I-F. Mixif.com. You'll see the website. I mean, I'm touring people into a home we got in San Francisco. I mean, we bought the home for a few millions. We turned around, we put it on the market to sell it for $8 million. It sold in 72 hours, all cash. I don't know if you're aware of the San Francisco area. There is no market in the world like San Francisco. We have the Chinese buying all cash. So, I mean, it's just phenomenal. Multiple offers. So this is the class of properties we deal with the fund money. But we see these home runs that came up from the E-Freedom program I created. And since my background is business, I say, all right, let's do these home runs and let's grab as many of them as possible. Let's get these investors that are in with us to gain from the home runs. Because what's going to happen when I give you an extra $1 million in profit? You're either going to want to invest with me again, or you're going to park the $1 million again in my fund. And when I pay you 8 as the money parks, I am also making money. But I want you to make more because you're going to invest with me more.
So your real hit on this is making more money from the money that's coming into your fund.
Either from the fund or from people telling me, like yesterday I was here and I spoke briefly, somebody came and said, I got $500,000 in cash, I don't want to go into your fund. I said, why? He said, my money's parked with United Technology, whatever, some company. He said, I made 30% last year. I said, is that what your comfort zone is? Fine. But when I call you, how much will you have available? He said, the entire $500,000. I said, well, provided that stock you have doesn't go down. So I'm going to put 400,000 here. He said, okay. So now I know I have a serious person. This person came to a training we did in Miami for 3 days, etc. So I know that serious person is 400,000. He prefers not to have the money in the fund. So now, if he puts the money in my fund, who has a priority? The person in the fund. And then, well, we have another opportunity. Well, everybody in the fund I talk to, they don't want it. Boom, I go outside the fund. It's just a normal way to do business. I try to be as transparent. We sometimes have events where we invite all the investors. And
you can't touch the money in the fund, correct?
But the money in the fund, the private placement says, your money will be invested in distressed properties, mainly in the San Francisco Bay Area. Exactly. We also have opportunities to lend or do bridge loans for investment for companies. Exactly. Actually, I had applied for a bank license, but I realized it's too much of a headache. Yes, sir.
You mentioned before you're limiting this to 25 investors. Why?
Well, I don't want to deal with a lot. I don't think if I want to go to the level where I have 100 investors at a time, I have to be structured slightly different. So I look at business as going upstairs. So now I'm looking at the next level will be 25 investors that would be interested in the big funding. Now, if that's successful, then that's obviously going to take us to the next level where we can say, all right, now let's get another crew. Now let's get the attorneys to work full time for the due diligence. Let's get this, and now we're ready for another level.
Increase the minimum to 100,000.
I could, but why? Most people.
Increase the number you need.
Oh, okay, well said. But the thing is, most people that invest, right? They invest like a couple $1 million. They write like, okay, I want 10 shares, or 100 shares is $2.5 million or whatever. So maybe 2 or 3 people are at 25,000 right now. They're from retirement accounts.
Can I help you raise the money since I'm a Brandon networker?
Yes, sir.
And I have people up in my portfolio.
Yes.
What kind of return would you give to someone that did that?
Oh, well, we work based on the project itself. So, for instance, we have a project to go fund something for $2 million, and we're going to make 4 within 6 months. Then I'm going to say, all right, how much are you going to raise the money? What's the cost of funds now? You see, based on, because every deal is slightly different. Some deals take a year, some take 6 months. Usually it's about 4 to 6 months from all what we've looked at. So, and so at that time, then we structure something you're happy with, the investor is happy with, and I'm happy with it because I'm going to put X in the money.
Each deal is done individually.
Yes. Yes. Very good. Yes, ma'am.
I have an interesting situation where I'm part of a project in Las Vegas, which is EB5 project.
Yes, wonderful.
We're building a casino on the Strip in Las Vegas.
Let me define. EB5 is a visa program where you get foreigners with a green card. Okay, great.
So we went to China. I just got back from China about a month ago.
Yes.
I was there for a month. I'm a little exhausted, but
Thank you for being here.
people want to bring their money to the U.S.
Yes.
So I have very large investors now who want to bring their money to the U.S. It doesn't work that well on the East Coast. It works better on the West Coast because they want to be, in communities.
Yeah, Chinese want to be in San
comfortable.
Francisco. Yes.
Yeah. So how could this work with large Chinese investors?
Oh, this works very easily because for the EB5 program, it's the easiest program because the cost of funds are, we were working on an EB5 program with a Chinese attorney that has the connection in China. The cost of funds were 1.5%. How do you like to get money at 1.5%? And then they're going to wait with you 5 years. So how does it work? If you're interested in something like this, I'll put you in touch with the attorney that does that, the EB5 program. We do the investment in San Francisco. We just have to work it in a way that I'm assuming the investment is already blessed by the immigration and the securities.
No, our project is getting the EB5 investors, but I have investors who want to invest in the States now.
Okay, that's very easy. Then we can either group them into a project or have them come in one at a time. Now, you say they want San Francisco?
I would think so. Things on the West Coast, Vegas and California.
Yeah. Well, we've had a couple locations already approved on a project, which is a hotel in San Francisco for the EB5.
No, I have the hotel.
Ah, you have even the hotel and
This is for what you're doing, because I now have your fund. I now have investors because they want to.
Okay, then what you create? Okay, very good point. So Mixif, my fund, is set up as a fund of funds. What I would do for you is I would structure for you, this will cost you less than $10,000. I'll structure for you a private placement under your name and your entity. So it will be a Florida LLC with your name, and you will become what's called a fund of funds. The funds will come to you, and you will put them into my fund. You will actually use my fund as a fund of funds. It is structured for that type of structure. So I pay you 8, you pay them 1.5. And all the money, so you understand, is secured for that structure. All the money is secured and cross-collateralized between all the properties that are in the fund. I can put you in touch with my attorney. We have an attorney here that's in Orlando area that's an expert in these, and I have another one that I use that is in San Francisco area. We can set it up for you. So Mixif is structured as a fund of funds because, remember, I'm a hedge fund manager and I'm an educator. So when I educate people who comes in for commercial real estate and hedge funds and all this, these are the high net worth people. So it's not a no money down program. Robert Allen come in and we're going to make money with no money. It's like it's kind of the reality here. So they come in and I say, all right, how many people want to invest their money? I get some people, hey Cherif, I've known you for 15 years. I've seen you. I have your programs, but I don't have time to invest. Here's my money. It's secured with you. Some other people say, more entrepreneur like you, I'm going to bring the money very inexpensively. How much would you pay me? So we structured it as fund of funds. So they set up a fund. Like for you, for instance, if you're going to raise the money, structure a fund for yourself. Then you have me, and I'm not the only one, because you can, once you have your structure, and I'll show you how to structure it, you can use my fund as fund of funds. You can use somebody else's. Maybe somebody offers you more. But if they do offer you more, come back and tell me, Cherif, they offered me this. Then we can get you into the fixed 8% and maybe the home runs that are here and there. But with the angle of the EB5, we just have to make sure 2 entities approve it. SEC, which I'm very familiar with their programs, I've been teaching Reg D and Reg A for years, and also the other entity is immigration. I mean, you would be amazed. You would think we're bringing people that are going to bring $1 million. You'd think the immigration will move faster. They're employing 10 people, bring them in. It's such a slow process, but it's all right. That's what it is. Let me take his question.
Your real estate where it's throwing off 8%.
Yes, sir.
Rental properties, or is that
No,
a capital
the
gain?
main focus we do on these properties is we buy distressed properties in Presidio Heights and the nicest areas of San Francisco. We fix them, rehab them completely in a nice way, and then we turn around and sell them.
So it's based on capital gains?
Yes, sir,
rather than,
based on capital gain.
buying rent
But
property.
you being in the fund, what you get is your income is coming in as passive income. Now, if you would like the 8% tax-free, are you listening to me?
Yep.
If you'd like the 8% tax-free, the entity you would invest from will not be a Florida entity or your name. I would then set you up in Puerto Rico, and the Puerto Rico will have certain tax advantages. You will literally loan the Puerto Rico entity. Puerto Rico entity will sign the subscription agreement in the PPM, and I'll be paying the Puerto Rico entity. I have a couple of people from Silicon Valley, they just did that. So I can make the 8% come to you tax-free. Yes, sir.
It sounds great. So when I start doing some due diligence and do background checks on
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I want you to do.
am I going to find any dirt?
You're going to find wonderful stuff. Let me tell you, my
Well, in San Francisco, the dirt.
yeah. Let me tell you, to have a private fund and be able to go to the SEC and file it, that alone, you're telling the world, here I am, check me out. Moreover, I have applied for a bank license and was approved. So to go through the rigorous backup of a bank license, and if you want reference, I'll give you a reference from the biggest banks in the world. Santander Bank, which is an international bank, Banco Popular, which is a huge bank. You can talk to HSBC, any of these banks. So I actually encourage you to check me out. I encourage you to have the attorneys talk to my attorneys or me. I encourage you to look me up online. Look at the video success stories of 1,000 people. Not saying, the guy is funny or whatever. I made money with Cherif Medawar. People have known me for 10, 11 years, etc. So I encourage you to do that. Yes. Actually, I would be concerned if you get excited and hand me a check. That's the person I worry most of. Yes, ma'am.
I'm curious for the LLC, Wyoming LLC.
Wyoming, yes.
The promissory notes, under what circumstances can those notes actually be
Recorded.
Right, no, Paul, and also who is controlling the LLC?
Okay, you're controlling the LLC in full. You have the certificate of ownership. The promissory note is between the LLC and yourself. Let's say you own the home in your own name. It's an investment property, and let's say it's here in Florida. So the promissory note is created, being that you owe X amount of money to the LLC, and that there will be a lien recorded as a second mortgage here. No one else controlling the LLC. If you're married and you want to put 50% ownership here and there. Now, assuming you want to get a real credit line against the home, and you walk into Bank of America and you say, I'd like to borrow $250,000 against my home. They pull up the records. They say, ma'am, we see that you owe us a first loan, but you also owe some company in LLC in Wyoming $250,000. How are we going to give you $250,000? You show them the certificate of ownership. You will sign a substitution of collateral, and you can subordinate that note into a third position. You're in full control. You can refinance, you can sell, you can do anything. Sir?
Can I be a single member?
You can be single member, you can be a husband and wife, you can be a group. Single member is the lowest level, but you're protected at the lowest level in Wyoming. Yes, ma'am.
How come because of June's situation that you said to the Florida LLC?
Because she could open it in Puerto Rico, but I meant like to make it the most convenient for her. I'll give you an example. The Mixif LLC is a California LLC, but an LLC is a flow-through entity. So it flows through to Original Resources, which is a Puerto Rico corporation. Is Puerto Rico part of the U.S.?
Yes.
Yes. So what ends up happening is we raise money in California, we deploy the capital properly and safely, we make money, pay the investors, the money that I'm making flows through right in front of California eyes, right into Puerto Rico. It's made into an entity that has the tax benefits as per tax code. I'll repeat. So the activity is here, but it flows through to another entity. So you can set it up in Florida, you can flow it through to Omaha, you can flow it through to Puerto Rico if you wish. Once we do business and we sit down and talk, we can do that. Ashley, are we doing the Puerto Rico thing with the group here? Am I offering this? Okay, so here's what I will do. Those that are interested for me to have a structure. I beg pardon? Okay, well, you'll have to talk to Ashley how many spots we have available. What we're doing is, for those that want to talk to me specifically about the structure, just schedule a time with Ashley for $1,000. I'll spend a day and a half with a small group of no more than 5 people. I think we already have 3, so maybe 2 more. And you just fly to Puerto Rico. So you get to meet the tax attorney, you get to see the structure, you get to see the buildings, what we're talking about, the historic district there, etc. And we'll schedule it in the next few weeks here. Whereby, when I sit with you, I'll take your question. When I sit with you, we'll talk about your specific situation. We'll talk about the structure that will fit you best. We can talk to the attorney. We'll see the paperwork. And then it will be very personalized because every person has a different structure. Yes, sir, you had a question.
If a plaintiff against the LLC has some money and is successful in getting the case to proceed, goes before the judge.
Correct.
The judge is listening. He says, "For what reason do you owe Mrs. Smith? Does your company, your LLM, owe Mrs. Smith $6 million?"
Yes.
What is the answer again?
Okay, there are 3 reasons to owe an entity money. If they loaned you money like the bank gives you actually money, you owe them money back with interest. Everybody with me on this one? There is another way for you to owe an entity money. Let's say we got into the entity together and I put money for you to do some work. You can owe me money because say the work is valued at X millions and you have the promissory note to perform at so much level of money. The third one is what's called to capitalize an entity. Now, the reason that is called economic substance approved by the courts is to capitalize an entity so you owe it the money. You see, this is why I say we are not hiding. We're telling a judge in court. So the judge is asking you, what's your name?
My name is Bill.
Bill, how come you owe $6 million to this LLC in Wyoming? Is this yours? Is it yours? Yes, I am the owner, or I'm one of the owners of that LLC. How come you owe $6 million to it? Well, that's how I capitalized the entity X months ago. All right, that is approved. That was called economic substance. You see, if you say it loaned me the money, the next question is, show me the check or the wire funds that came from the LLC to you. No, it didn't loan me money. No, I'm not obligated to perform anything to it. I set it up and I capitalized it at $6 million. Now, I want you even to check on this with an attorney. Best yet.
Does there have to be a minimum value of
No.
the LLC
No.
to capitalize it?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, the fact that it's worth $6 million is the fact that you had equity of around that as much. So you can capitalize it for that.
But
You
it's
see,
only you who is controlling it. How
You and your
they
spouse?
try to pierce the corporate veil?
they can't pierce an LLC.
If
There is no
it's
such
the
thing.
only person.
Okay, let me explain your question. You're trying to tell me,
I think it's an exception, isn't it?
no, not in Wyoming. As a matter of fact, yes, the key thing is Wyoming. Like in Nevada, they started LLCs in 1994 versus LLC in Wyoming in 1972. But let me tell you this. What you're trying to say, what if there is a charging order? Like you lost the case. Okay, so you have the LLC, they accept that it has economic substance, they see that there is a lien recorded. Also, part of the legitimacy of the setup is you have to make a payment, a periodic payment to the LLC. You're with me on this? There are some steps. I'm trying to simplify what I explained in an hour and a half for each part. I'm trying to give you a synopsis. But
How much?
no. You see, we give you, when we structure the structure, we put the interest at 7%, and you make a periodic payment. And we write the promissory note in a way that says that the payments are cumulative. And if you miss any payment or decide not to make any payments, these payments plus interest shall be accrued and added to the actual amount of the loan to be paid at the end. So what happens is you're making a payment to yourself. Is that tax neutral? Yes or no? Now that adds legitimacy to the company. So the judge is going to ask you, why do you owe the LLC $6 million? Your Honor, this is my LLC. This is how I capitalized it. I intend to do business with it, as you see from the operating agreement. They look at the operating agreement. Wonderful. Have you made payments on that note? Yes, Your Honor, I just made a payment in January. Oh, but this is July. How come you made a payment? Well, if you look at the operating agreement, there is a promissory note attached at the end, and it states that I can actually accrue some payment. Oh, okay, good. You made a payment. You're following the actual promissory note. Is there a lien? Did the actual LLC record a lien to protect its rights to the capitalization and the fact that you... Yes, Your Honor, it's actually cross-collateralized against all my assets. This is so powerful that I want you to check a bankruptcy attorney. That structure, on the 25th month, that means 24 months into it, God forbid you have to file bankruptcy, they have to actually leave the structure knowing that you owe your own LLC because it has economic substance. I know. I was so excited when we cracked that code. I mean, I went and started talking to other attorneys. You know what the attorneys said when they reviewed the paperwork?
Brilliant.
Yeah, they said, can I sell it for you? How much will you give me? If I sell it to you, because this is going to be easy work. You already have the attorney, have a service company. Would you sell it for me and pay me $500? Because it will be half an hour, I'll get $500. And you do the work with your attorney and your service company. Key thing, you will have no equity showing, but you're in control of the entire process. And you have only one LLC to maintain. And please understand, it's a fourth level of being careful. First level of asset protection is being prudent. Right? Don't punch somebody in the mall. Don't yell at somebody in the street. Don't push somebody. Don't back up the car without looking. Don't drink too much, etc. Right? Be prudent. Number 2, get insurance. Number 3, get umbrella insurance. Number 4, don't show equity. But don't hide. I mean, for you to go to court, if you look at court cases, and I have fun looking at court cases, first question, the judge says, I don't see any home you have. Well, I don't have a home really under my name. I just have these entities that are land trusts that are over here, took it from there, put it there, put it there. That's it. The judge is just classifying you as a clever person. You want to say, I'm here, this is my home, I have insurance, I have this, I made a mistake, I had an accident. Okay? Now, I don't have any equity showing right now. And I'm trying to settle with this person. They don't want to call me back. So they want to take me to court. Your Honor, you tell me what's fair and right. Okay, well, what are your other assets? I see everything is in your name. Let's say you put everything in your name. Well, we see no equity here. You owe money to different banks, and you owe money to the same entity here, cross-collateralized. What is that entity? That's my entity, Your Honor. Oh, you have the certificate of ownership? Yes. Okay, wonderful. When did you set it up? Yesterday, when you got sued the day before? Nah, that's fraudulent transfer of assets. Oh, you set it up, and then you got sued a week later? Hey, that was before any lawsuit or any problems. That is economic substance. You capitalize the company for this and that. Pressed by the courts. Well, worst case scenario, give a charging order. Charging order, the actual operating agreement says, under duress, the actual LLC has the right not to distribute any funds, not to do this, not to do that. It's all in the operating agreement is 70 pages. When I did this, it was an orgasmic moment. No, just kidding. Any other questions I can answer? Yes, sir.
So you can do this with homes and businesses?
Homes, businesses, investment properties.
But you can't do it with cash?
Okay. You can put the cash, you can then, when you set up the LLC and has a bank account in Wyoming, or you can set up the bank account here in Florida, you can actually transfer it to the LLC. So the LLC bank account has the cash. They'll have the hardest time to get to it. As a matter of fact, the only 2 things I would say you could do with that LLC is put cash or have a trading account, like stock market trading account, because these activities will not create a liability. You don't want to set it up and then conduct business from that entity. It's just an entity there to protect you. So the cash should be transferred there.
But I don't have access to the cash?
You have access to cash. You remember, you're the manager of the LLC, and you're the owner. You have a certificate of ownership.
Okay, but I can't trade the stocks?
You can trade. I said, I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. So that LLC could be the one to open a stock trading account, and you're trading, and the money goes into the LLC. That's all, and then file taxes then for that additional income for that LLC, or make the LLC flow through back to you, and you file taxes.
One of the key things I think in what he's structured is the single member ownership of the LLC
In Wyoming.
as
Yes.
tie up the LLCs.
Yes. Imagine.
In Wyoming is,
Yes. Yes.
if you have two members, husband and wife.
Yeah. You do 50-50 ownership.
Well, I understand
Ideally.
that, but does
Sorry.
that affect this, you said the charging order was...
No, none whatsoever.
It was only a single.
Single or a couple there, absolutely no problem because that's the code.
So the couple can be husband and spouse.
Absolutely.
Doesn't have to, but if you have an unrelated individual...
That's fine as well. It could be you and me, members of an LLC. You see, this could be perfectly fine.
How long have you been setting these up?
Actually, we just started this 7 months ago. We set up quite a few of them. I mean, it was the first time we presented it, needless to say, presented in California. People are like throwing the credit cards at the back table. That's how anxious they are with the asset protections. So we've set up quite a few.
And the only money you're making on this is $5,000?
Yeah, $5,000 is what we set it up. I pay the attorneys, I pay the marketing fees, and then the rest is my profit. Oh, by the way, I always make a profit. Hopefully you're not upset. I have a built-in profit in everything I do. Otherwise, we don't.
It's not a benefit.
No, I just. I mean, it's and as a matter of fact, to maintain the company every year, to maintain the structure is like $450. And I say, if you find a service agent that maintains it for less, all the power to you. You just maintain it with them.
So you'll service it?
We'll service it. See, I try to present everything and do two things with it. The coaching, meaning come and meet me, let's talk one-on-one, but let's go sit down in Puerto Rico so you get to see the whole thing. You get to walk, talk, see my biddings, walk into the bank, ask him, does this guy really have, how much does he have cash right now? I tell her, answer him. I tell the bank manager, answer him. Show him, I have a 3.3 million CD sitting there. Just answer him. You know what I mean? So you get to verify, because there are a lot of crooks out there, all right? But I have been in the public doing seminars, education, hedge fund, and all this the last 15 years, since 1999, right? By the way, so you know how I started. I was a hotel management trainee. My goal was to be a hotel manager, a hotel owner. A hotel guest in 1981, a billionaire in the name of Edmond Bessari, saw me in Los Angeles, stopped me in the lobby. I was 21 years old. And he said, Cherif, what are you doing working so hard in here? I said, sir, I'm 21 and I have a golden name tag. He said, what are you talking about? I said, that means I could become a general manager if I work hard for 10, 12 years. He said, are you nuts? You're working your heart out. You're paying federal tax, state tax, Medicare tax, Social Security tax, unemployment tax. And you can even take vacation. Come and work for me. I said, doing what? He said, I have commercial properties around the world. I was so scared. I said, sir, I don't even know residential real estate. And as God is my witness, he grabbed me from the shoulder like this. He said, Cherif, you're at the right place at the right time. Just say yes. I said yes. I didn't even know what I was saying yes. I went and worked for him. He had a castle in France. He still owns it. By the way, April 24th last year, Forbes magazine wrote an article about him. His chateau, his castle, it's a $100 million castle. He bought it from the government of France. He's in the late 70s now. But I was 21 working for him. I was exposed for 8 years to a world of finance that, just unbelievable. I learned structures and I learned to think differently. I invite you to go to LinkedIn. Just LinkedIn and put Cherif Medawar, and you will see the link to the chateau and the article they wrote about him. And I was there last year in November. It has been an incredible life, and I actually was able to structure things to benefit others along the way. I have enough income from my commercial buildings in Old San Juan to retire and sit. I'm going to Cancun in a few hours, play play volleyball on the beach. My kids are pretty young. And I'm enjoying life. So I like to do things that are simple, that help others. I don't like to compete. I like to cooperate. And we take it to another level. So,
and you've got all your assets in this Wyoming LLC?
Yes. What I have, like for example, in Puerto Rico, and when you come in, I'll show you, the properties are in my name. Now, unlike anybody else, everybody will tell you put the property in somebody else's name. I put them in my name. I have a first lien that's very little. My property is worth maybe combined 50 million. My debt is less than 10 million. But guess what the equity is stripped against? The Wyoming LLC. So when I go to the bank knows I owe them 10 million on the package. I have 40 million equity, and they know his certificate of ownership. I'm just doing this for asset protection. And the attorneys of the bank say, this is amazing, it's fascinating. I never thought of it this way. I was with the client services of Wells Fargo Bank. Client services, they give you all this advice, and you sit around with all the attorneys around the table. And every idea they gave me, I gave them a better one. here's how you reduce your taxes. You set up this, you take it from there, you do this. It's so complicated. I said, well, how about set it up in Puerto Rico? One entity, set up this, and you pay this way, and the money is yours, but it's tax-free. So what tax code is that? Here it is.
Now, if you didn't pay the bank back that $10 million and the 40 million equities in Wyoming, and you just said that's protected, how does the bank get the profit?
Okay, the question is, okay, sure, if you owe the bank 10 million, you owe 40 million to your Wyoming LLC. What if you don't pay the bank? If I don't pay the bank, they're in what position? First position. Second position gets wiped. They'll foreclose, take 50 million properties at 10 million. Yes, there is a secondary position. It only protects me against crazy litigants. Yes. It's an asset protection.
Protection against third parties.
Exactly. Do not transfer the assets because it could always create problems with do on sale clause with the loans. It can trigger tax reassessment. It can trigger confusion with the courts. You don't want to create these problems. Keep the assets in your name or whatever name. Strip the equity to an entity you control with a correct economic substance. Keep it simple in your lifetime. My buildings, when you see in Puerto Rico, I bought the buildings and I put the biggest tenants in the world. Tommy Hilfiger. Bought another one, put Coach. Bought another one. These are triple net leases. They sign a lease for 10 to 20 years. They pay me direct payment into my bank account, direct withdrawal for payment, the rest is mine. And it's tax-free income. Blessed by the tax code. I'll show you the IRS letter. It says, we haven't seen 316,000 income from this, and my response, and then the letter right after, 2 weeks later from the IRS, oh, you're correct, you're set up with the correct tax code, please forgive the previous letter. I'll show you proof. I'm not saying close your eyes and believe me. Open your eyes and verify. Come and let's spend the time. Yes, sir.
I've got a business partner that has over 100 acres in Puerto Rico. I'm actually heading to Puerto Rico to take a look at it.
Yes.
Big real estate practice. What I was going to ask you is there any way, because it's free and clear, his father passed away and we're going to do something with the land, obviously, move it along to...
Yes, he can strip the equity by creating that. Absolutely. The problem with Puerto Rico, when yes, there is just a little extra fee to record those liens because they charge for stamps and all this.
It's free and clear. All the land is free and clear.
Correct, but we're going to create a lien. The lien we will create and record, there is a small fee for it.
Any idea percentage?
How much is the value of the land?
Probably about, I'd say, at least 5 million.
5 million will cost him probably around 15,000, something like this. Yeah, but it's well worth it.
Yeah.
Well worth it. Yes. By the way, that land doesn't have the tax exemptions and all this. The tax exemption only in historic places, historic buildings that have been handpicked in the historic district of Old San Juan. But I'll now show you that.
There's buildings all around us.
Yes. Am I taking too much of the time? Yeah, I'm way over. Okay, I'm so sorry. Yes.
If we set up this asset protection with you, as we develop more assets?
Yes. Yes, we add another, we just add another lien. What we do is you would just adjust. It's just two simple pieces of paper that we adjust.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Actually, anybody that's interested in further information.
Yes, talk to Ashley. It's $995. Spend a day and a half with me in Puerto Rico, and we will just iron out personalized situations. And then, so for you, for example, I put you in touch with the attorney. Let's figure out the structure. You see the private fund for you, etc. And we take it from there. Is that okay? Yes, please ask me, and I'll get off this.
You say the title of the incentive law, Law 20. What is that?
The title, actually, they just call it Law 20, and then they just go into the explanation. They create all these incentives with Congress, but Puerto Rico doesn't have the money to go and promote it the right way. And so I've been doing it through my company with the buildings I have to create presence for you, etc. So I'll be your contact if you want and clarify it for you. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Thank you.